May of 2024, this year, we moved into a 5,000 square foot building that my husband and I bought as an investment. I'm that kind of person that I don't like paying other people for things that I could be putting back in my own pocket. And the financial advisor, his team grew and he moved with us. And then on the other side of our little building was 2 commercial insurance agents, my brother-in-law, and then our good friend that we've known our entire life. And they moved with us and they're upstairs.
Wow.
We brought our whole tailgate with us.
I love it. I love it. That's so great. I love it so much. And so, yeah, just, for everybody that's hearing this, for 2 years, you were out of your house. For 2 years, you were in somebody else's space, and now you're, in your forever, very likely, it seems like your forever space with your community and with the people that you love to work with. And
we grew from a team of 2 to a team of 7.
Yeah. Amazing over that time. And you've retired your husband from his corporate job, and now he is your COO, CFO. Great. So what I really want to chat about today is, and you did all this knowing nothing about estate planning whatsoever just 4 years ago. So I just want to make sure that you all are hearing that. Trish knew nothing about estate planning 4 years ago. We supported her to learn estate planning and really to build this law practice into a business. Welcome to the NewLaw Podcast for Entrepreneurial Lawyers. Here at Personal Family Lawyer, we want to help more families and business owners make eyes wide open legal and financial decisions. But we cannot do this without you, which is why we started this podcast, to find those of you ready to offer a better way to serve your clients. So if you are a legal professional who wants to help improve the legal and financial well-being of your clients and offer a service model that differentiates you while meeting the needs of your community, and rest easy, knowing that you are running your law practice like a real business, then join us on this journey by subscribing to the show and find out how you can use a new law business model to love your life as a lawyer. If you're anything like me, you are going to love today's episode because we are talking to Trish Butcher about how she built her law practice from scratch into a $1 million plus business, bought her own office building, built that out, and did it all within just 4 years. We're going to hear her exact path from start to where she is now. If you are like me and you love stories about how they did it so that you can live into, if she can do it, I can do it, which is one of my mantras, you are going to love this episode. Let's dive in, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay. Hello, Trish. Good to see you. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, Ali.
Hey, so let's just start with, when did you join us? What were you doing before you worked with us?
So I think I joined boot camp in February of 2020. So literally right before the pandemic hit. So perfect timing.
Did you know the pandemic were you aware something was happening when you joined us?
I think they had just started saying that there was a virus in China, but
Got it.
very much oh,
No
we're
big deal.
good. We're untouchable kind of thing.
Yeah.
So no, but I mean, even more, I owned a gym, all women's gym previously, and closed it in November 2019. So if we want to talk about perfect timing and just maybe God tapping me on the shoulder and telling me that the COVID was about to happen.
Yeah. And had you been using your law degree at that point at all?
I was of counsel for a firm in another town. I went to law school in Atlanta. I went to Emory, and then I worked for the Medical Association of Georgia for several years, 5 years in total. And so I represented about 8,000 physicians, and I was more of a regulatory attorney and then a lobbyist. And loved it, but did not love having a boss. I know you find that hard to believe with me. So in 2016, my husband and I were very tired of being in Atlanta. My boss and I were no longer seeing eye to eye. And so I quit MAG and we moved back to Athens, which is my hometown. And so I was still doing some legal work on the side, but not a ton. So I pretty much took a hiatus and then had my son in 2019. So I think that's when.
And started the gym that year too.
No, I started the gym in 2017, closed it in 2019. So it was open for 3 years.
Got it.
My lease was up. I decided not to renew it. It was a great experience. I
Yeah,
call it my on the ground MBA, actually.
totally. Yeah. Yeah, you had a little bit of
And I
business
was in great
under your
shape.
belt. Yeah, that's the nice part about owning a gym. Not so much with an estate planning practice. Did you know that you were going to do estate planning when you found us?
No
Oh, what did you think you were doing or
business,
going to do with your law
business
degree?
law geared towards healthcare professionals because that was my entire background was working with physicians and healthcare professionals. And that's what I was doing for the other firm as well. So it was the lift business. I thought that I could really do that for medical professionals and that could be my niche and maybe do estate planning on the side or something like that. And I think I worked with my first couple clients were lift business somewhere in the health industry customers. And then from there, it was like a complete 180 to estate planning and then gradually just grew it from there and there. But yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's ironic looking back because I was always very interested in estate planning. And I think that grabbed my attention as well
Mm,
because of my grandmother's estate plan and how that epically
mm,
failed. But I hadn't really considered it because I had no background in it. So
got it. So then you joined us in February 2020 with the boot camp. And when did you become a full-fledged personal family lawyer?
August.
Okay, so that year, now we're like full on in COVID.
And
And
death is
yeah,
on
you just
people's minds.
yes, and you decide, okay, I'm gonna go all in. I'm going to build my practice into a business because that's really what the commitment to being a personal family lawyer is. And did your sister go in with you right away as well?
Pretty much. I mean, I'm pretty sure she joined me maybe in September at the latest. That's how
Got it.
long it
Okay.
took me to wear her down.
Yeah. Yeah, and she came in and you established Arch Legacy. And why Arch? Is that your family name?
Nope. You're just not a football fan.
No, they're not.
We're in Athens, Georgia, where the University of Georgia is, and their symbol is the arch. So
I see. Smart.
it was alluding to Athens and to the University of Georgia without being like in your face Athens or the University of Georgia. So, even if you don't get it,
So smart.
it sounds nice. But originally it was Butcher Health Law when I thought I was gonna just be doing doctors and lip business. And then after about, I think like a year of that, I looked at my sister and I was like, I think we need to rebrand.
Mhm.
Butcher
Yeah,
doesn't
and
get
it's
more
so smart.
pussies.
But yeah. Right. Yeah, maybe especially when you're talking about death. And now it's not tied to your name. You're really creating a saleable business. This has become a real firm. And now we are in 2024, or really exactly 4 years later. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. And yeah, I imagine next year's going to be your $1 million year. You're going to be close this year. And then next year's going to be the breakthrough to a million. But to me, far more important than that, this year was the year you bought a building. That happened this year. You're sitting in your office with that
Correct.
building, right?
My office. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, this year. So we started out in my house. So it was me and Stephanie, and she was paralegal, I was attorney, and then we kind of split CSD and all the other duties together. So I'm super fortunate to have had her pretty much from the get go because I literally don't know how I could have done it without her because she knows more about trust than I could ever know at this point. She's done so many wealth counsel RLT intensives, I don't even know. So we started out in my like little home office, and clients came to my house and then, May of 2022, we moved into an office with a financial advisor, um, who specializes in special needs planning. So, a
Mm,
really good combination, just a good friend of ours. And so we each had like 2 offices. And then May of 2024 this year, we moved into a 5,000 square foot building that my husband and I bought. as an investment. I'm that kind of person that I don't like paying other people for things that I could be putting back in my own pocket. And the financial advisor, his team grew and he moved with us. And then on the other side of our little building was two commercial insurance agents, my brother-in-law, and then our good friend that we've known our entire life. And they moved with us and they're
Wow.
upstairs. We brought our whole tailgate with us.
I love it. I love it. That's so great. I love it so much. And so, yeah, just, for everybody that's hearing this, for 2 years, you were out of your house. For 2 years, you were in somebody else's space, and now you're, in your forever, very likely, it seems like your forever space with your community and with the people that you love to work with. And
And we grew from a team of two to a team of seven.
yeah, amazing over that time. And you've retired your husband from his corporate job, and now he is your COO, CFO.
CFO.
Great. So, what I really want to chat about today is and you did all this knowing nothing about estate planning whatsoever just 4 years ago. So, I just want to make sure that you all are hearing that. Trish knew nothing about estate planning 4 years ago. We supported her to learn estate planning and really to build this law practice into a business that one day, I guess, when you look into the future, do you see selling it or do you see just having it cash flow and other people running it?
My end game, so my son is 5, so we have 13 years till he graduates from high school. I'm counting down. The plan is at that point is to pretty much retire. So the goal would be
Yeah.
to sell this business, ideally to another attorney, but I'm also thinking that by then it will no longer be only attorneys can own law firms. So I'm guessing equity firms come into the equation at some point there as well. But we're also working on another business. My husband and I are, that's a little bit different. And that's also probably a higher dollar selling business down the road. So there's a couple things in the works, actually two other businesses, I guess, for being honest. So the goals,
Trish is the definition of entrepreneurial, by the way, if you haven't
if
figured
you
it
want to meet
out.
someone that doesn't sleep and wakes up at 3:30 every morning with my mind going, that's me. Yeah. So the goal
Yeah.
is to move down to Amelia Island, Florida when my son
Mm.
graduates. He has a girlfriend. And so he announced that they're getting married at the beach because that's where he's going to live. And when I told him that, well, we were going to live at the beach, he goes, no, just me.
Well, he'll want you down there by that time, especially if he's gonna have kids. He'll let you share the island with him. Okay, so just want to get into the conversation about you've made really rapid progress. And I think a big part of that is because you did the right things at the right time on your own, and then you leveraged support at the right times. And so obviously the first support that you leveraged was just learning estate planning, learning life and legacy planning, the way that we teach it and, creating the systems so that you weren't reinventing the wheel. But I want to talk today about the technology systems specifically because you got started up with our accelerator program and we built out your automation systems for you. And when did you get that installed?
I think from the really very beginning, I think I did both when I joined. I think maybe there was a month lag. I think there was like a month lag. I joined PFL, dragged my feet a little bit about Accelerator, and then did it the next month. And we
Got it.
were with
And
y'all were with like old school Infusionsoft at the time.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think Stephanie and I could have done that by ourselves, even having an
Yeah.
extra person.
Yeah. Maybe you could have. I see a lot of lawyers who, I mean, you probably could have. You can do a lot, but it wasn't a good use of your resources when you were getting started up.
Definitely not also being a mom too. So, I mean, because my son
Mhm.
was still really young, but I mean, no matter what age your kids are, they always take up a lot of your time and you want to be present. And I think, like you were saying earlier with like housekeeping, anything that you can get off your own plate to make your life easier and better is such a big thing to do, especially as a working mom. Now, dads too, it applies to you too. I'm not excluding dads, but especially as the mom that's constantly thinking about grocery shopping and what we're cooking for dinner and all that fun stuff. And to just have that all built out and all just ready to go and all automations and not have to worry that we weren't following up with people about certain things. And it definitely makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. And there came a point in time when it made sense for you to handle it yourself in house because now you have a team of 7. You went from 2 to 7. And then it just made sense for you to take it over, handle it yourself. What was that turning point that it just made sense for that? Would you love direct support to help you grow your law practice into a business you love? Go to newlawbusinessmodel.com/show and sign up for a call with one of our trusted law business advisors. Each of our advisors has been trained directly by me over the past 5 years plus to help you chart your path from wherever you are now to where you want to go as efficiently and effectively as possible. You're ready to grow. We're here to help.
When it wasn't just me in meetings, that's where it started getting complicated. I no longer run the signing meetings. I don't do the consults. I don't do the life and legacy interviews. Each one of those is handled by a different person. And now my husband's coming on to do the business meetings and the business succession planning. And so there is going to be a fifth person in the mix. And so it just made sense that we be able to, at that point, take over so that we could have multiple users and multiple schedulers and things like that. But until then, I mean,
Totally makes sense.
I literally was pretty much still doing almost all the meetings other than the consults until August of last year. So, I mean, we're still, or really September. So, I mean, we're still kind of new to the Trish's delegating. And the signing meetings didn't get off my back until really till we moved here. So, May. So, I've been out of signing meetings for only like 3 months. So, that was really where it was like,
Wow.
okay, like, we need Stephanie's calendar for the signing meetings. We need Trisha's calendar for the planning sessions. We need,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Great. Well, I imagine you said you dragged your feet for a month. Tell me about that just because I imagine that the people that are listening to this could be in whatever inquiry you were in back then to say, "Oh, what was that thought? What was the thought that was there for you?"
it's a lot of money. You know, I think it's one of the hardest things that we ever do is make investments. There's
Mhm.
the Sam Allens of the world. Hey, Sam. And who are literally like balls to the wall, jump full speed ahead, like go for it. And then there's the people that are super hesitant. I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I'm a little bit more calculated and a little bit slower to pull the trigger. But when I know, I know. So I'm extremely like, it took me 5 seconds to pick the wallpaper for my office. Like I'm very decisive when I need to be, but I want to make sure it's the right fit first. So, I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's basically investing in not having to pay someone else to do that for you. I mean, at this point, I've looked at custom build outs. Those are $30,000 plus the monthly expenses. I've looked at, hiring someone and having it handled in house, which is basically what I do. And that was another turning point, of course, is that I have someone else that can handle all that. I barely ever even get on my CRM at this point. That was a huge factor as well. She's a full-time employee who does some other things as well. And so I'm paying her a lot more than I was paying Accelerator.
To me, that's really the moment at which it starts to make sense to just handle it yourself is if you have somebody in-house, especially because you all already had we built out the automation for you, right? And so I think that really what I desire for folks to take away from this when you are just getting started up, handling your own automation, building it out yourself is not the place to put your resources. Where is the place to put their resources? What is the okay, if you have to choose between putting your resources here and there, where should they be putting their time, energy, and attention? Resources.
Networking,
Networking.
pounding pavement,
Got it.
learning and pounding pavement are the two biggest things to starting a law firm. And your time is not well spent unless you are just that tech savvy person that is just your favorite thing in the whole world. That is definitely not where your time is the most. I mean, well, my firm is now in 4 chambers of commerces, but I'm active, highly active in one, but at the time I was highly active in 2. Ambassador, I joined country club boards. I mean, the biggest part of being a law firm owner is that you're no longer just a lawyer. You have to go be a business owner and pound pavement. In order for
Mm,
your law firm and your business to be successful, that is what you have to do, and that is where most of your energy should be focused on,
mm.
because that's my number
This
1
is the
rule.
best advice. This is such good advice because I don't think a lot of lawyers get this. I think they're like, "Oh, I should be putting time into my website or I should be like doing webinars." Maybe later you could, you just did a webinar last night, you had or today with
Today.
57 people on it. So that happens. That happens down the road. But that's not step 1. Step 1 is, as Trish is saying, get out there and get seen in your community, get known in your community because actually nobody else can do that for you.
Right.
Nobody, somebody else can build your automation. So, networking and what did you say the other thing was?
In learning, I mean,
Learning. Yes.
because I came from no background of
Right.
estate planning,
Yeah.
so I had to I mean, I remember Stephanie and I looking at each other going, "When do you think this is actually, like, we're gonna feel comfortable with this and stop feeling like, when you feel like you don't know what you're doing and you're telling people you do." Um,
Afraid of malpractice?
well, that
Oh,
for sure.
imposter syndrome.
Yes, imposter syndrome, thank you. I I
Yeah.
knew you figured out eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, I just remember us looking at that, and now, I mean, Stephanie's trained another paralegal, we have 2 in-house paralegals now, and we have an event coordinator for all of our events, and
Yeah.
so and a full-time CST, then she's the one that knows our CRM like the back of her hand at this point, but again, part of that was because we were originally with Accelerator, and y'all had already built out a lot of our automations, and so now all
Yeah.
we've had to do is just go in and tweak things, which makes it a lot
Mhm.
easier than building it from scratch.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I so appreciate you coming and sharing this. My big takeaway that I'm going to share with everyone is put your energy into networking and learning when you're starting out. Let us build your automation and take that technology, maybe even your website off your hands so that when you're networking, you come home and you get those leads put into your automation system so that the leads get followed up with and you don't lose the leads, which is like the greatest cost. That happened to me in the first years of my practice. I just didn't have any follow-up systems, so we lost all those leads. I'm curious, have you had the situation yet where you met somebody like 4 years ago when you were first starting out and they just finally are coming in now because of your communication, because of your email newsletters? Do you ever see that happening yet?
Not 4 years, but certainly, like, 2 years.
2
Like,
years,
we've
yeah.
we've definitely had people that have been like, "Oh, like, I've had a direct mailer," or like, "I got your newsletter, and I've been following along with you for years, and we finally took the plunge," or whatever, so, yeah. But I think it's accumulation of everything. I think it's the automations, the newsletters, the drip campaigns. I haven't always been the best with newsletters, so that I really can't claim 100%.
Mhm.
But it's social media,
Yeah.
it's everything and it all adds up together, but it definitely those automations are really important, and people will tell us, they're like, "Thank you so much for following us up with us." But the best is when people are like, "Your client services director is really on top of things. She sends us so many emails." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's our automatic system. That's definitely not actually Sarah, but the fact that you think it is great."
Exactly, exactly. The more we can have things seem like the client services director is great or the universe is sending them a message because they see you everywhere. That's the kind of things that we really love to hear from clients. So, Trish, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today. And any last words of advice for the person who is just starting out and going, I don't know what to do? What's your best advice for them?
Just make the investment in yourself and in your business, because at Arch Legacy, when we work with business owners, it's build and grow your legacy, or as my husband says, engineer your legacy, because he's an aerospace engineer by a degree. So engineer your legacy and then leave a legacy. And in order to build that legacy, you have to commit to building it. And it's scary and it's a cliff, but Ali, I remember those first months of COVID when my son wasn't even quite 1. And I did all of the boot camp. I told you I don't do well like sitting and being talked at. So my son loved to be outside. He just wanted to walk. That's all he wanted to do as a baby. And the number of walks I went on with you in my ears, like learning the
Oh,
boot camp, you
I
just got
love
to
that.
commit to it. And it's scary because it is a lot of money. A lot of things are. I mean, all of the investments I've made over the years, some have been better than others, but you just gotta commit to it and take the leap and invest in yourself because that's what we're doing. But you need to invest in giving yourself the freedom to do what you need to do and allow others to handle what they're trained to do. Because I
Mhm.
did not go to school to be a software engineer. So
Yeah.
same with marketing. I had to, I'm like, I didn't go to school for marketing. Like, I have to
Right?
remind myself of that occasionally.
Yeah. Well, you're a really good marketer now, Trish, and you're a fantastic businesswoman, and it's just been a joy to watch you go. So thanks so much for being here. And everybody else, take your next steps. Remember, free up your time, energy, and attention. They're your non renewable resources. As a lawyer, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time, energy, and attention. And so invest in those things that will free up that time, energy, and attention. And we'd love to help you to do just that. All right, everybody, I'm Ali Katz. Bye bye for now. If you loved that episode with Trish Butcher and you'd love to follow in her footsteps and not have to reinvent the wheel, go to newlaw.co/show and apply to talk with a law business advisor to find out how we can give you everything that you need to build your law practice into a business you love with life and legacy planning so you don't have to reinvent the wheel or go it alone. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the inside.